What is going on, y'all? Welcome to Joel Friday TV. I am Joel Friday. A few announcements before we get started. Hit that like button, smack it. Later, smack down the like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we get the subscribers up and the message out. Do it now. Help a brother out. As you guys know, and you guys know this, we are a talk show. So at any point, and we are live Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and at any point during the show, you can call in. You can call into the live taping at 888-775-3773, 888-775-3773. Listen, you can call in, and we can get into it. If for whatever reason you can't call in, but you still have a question or comment, or you just want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV. The link is in the YouTube description if you rather click a link than to type it all out. Or go directly to the YouTube live chat, hit the super chat button there, and I'll read your questions or comments live on air. And we can get into it that way as well. Amazing stuff. You know what I mean? We are live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and punchy.tv. So listen, anywhere you're trying to watch the show, pick. If you're a boomer and you like Facebook, go to Facebook. Hop in the comments. If you're a Gen Z and you like Instagram, do Gen Z and millennial. Then do Instagram, right? If you are Gen X, or past boomer, you like Jesus age, then you can go to punchy.tv. All you got to do is type in punchy.tv on the web browser. As easy as it gets. It don't get easier. Either way, hop in the comments, and talk your mess. Amazing stuff. Man, I got some stuff I want to share with you guys, but I want to start off the show today on a positive note, an even more positive note, and then we'll get to the mess. Okay? Let's start off on a positive note, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to a call. Okay. And then we'll get to the stuff. The nitty gritty. Ooh, and I know you guys been waiting for it. And I got some stuff to show you guys. When we gonna get into it. I got a little message for the ladies too. Ooh! That shirt is an optical collusion, Joel. I know. Don't stare at it too long. You get a seizure. All right, let me get to the call really quick. Straight out of Texas, and you can't call in. Lines are open. Callers, be patient. Straight out of Texas, Caroline. Calling in. Caroline, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Joe, what's up?
How's it going, Caroline?
All is well.
So I know you got some interesting. You have a story to share with us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll keep it pithy, but yeah, basically I forgave my mama over the weekend.
Nice.
Yeah. So we've been beefing, me and her, for the longest because she's so evil, and we haven't really been talking for like the last 2 years. So, but I was listening to the show.
Wait, hold on one second. Caroline. Are you on speakerphone or anything like that? Because you're sounding a little bit muffled.
No. I don't know. We move around or something.
Let me see.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, go ahead. Let's try it.
All right. Yeah, so me and my mom, we've been beefing for like 2 years, or we haven't really been talking.
Oh,
because I was
okay.
judging her so much.
Did you grow up?
Because
Did you grow up with your mom? Did she raise you?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, she a single mom. Yeah, and she, I hated my dad. Because of her, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been listening to JLP and Bond, and I'm always hearing like forgive your mom, and
Yeah.
it's like I would intellectually understand that, but I guess in my spirit or whatever you want to say, I didn't really understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. Over like the last week, I've just been having some more clarity, I guess. I don't know, and I was just like, I need to forgive her. I understand why now.
Yeah.
I don't have that judgment against her anymore. So I was originally going to do it on Friday, but she had to work. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it on Saturday. And I was all fired up. I was all ready to do it. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to cry. Like, I'm so ready.
Yeah.
And so I called her on Saturday, and I was like, I don't know, I couldn't speak. She was like, well, what's going on? Because it was weird. I don't know. I texted my sisters, and I was like, hey, let me know when mom gets home so I can, I just have to talk to her about something. Because she's all the way in Arizona, I'm in Texas, so I couldn't do it in person. But
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I called her, and I don't know, I couldn't speak. It's like I was so scared. I was actually shaking in my boots, and I was so ready to do it before, and now like I was so scared that I was like, no, I gotta get it out. And I just told her, I kept it pithy. Well, low key, before I did it, I kind of expected for her to be like, forgive me for what, and, go off. But I was like, I'm not going to think about that. Like, just,
So when you,
but all she said,
just really quick, when you
ahead.
got on the phone, you called her and you said, hey, mom, and she's like, what you doing calling me? I don't like you type of thing? Or was she like, hey, daughter, and she did you guys were nice at first?
Oh, she's very condescending. So she was like, hey, baby, what's going on?
Okay. And did you, and right away, did you get straight to the punch, or the small talk first, or how did it, what was it like?
Yeah, no, I was like, I'm not going to do no small talk because I feel like, I don't know, I'm just going to do it. So I just did it.
Nice. Okay,
I did
go
need
ahead.
a second. Yeah, I needed a second to like, I don't know, get the courage or whatever. So once she did, call me, I was like, okay, give me a second because I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
And then, after like a minute or two, I was like, all right, mom, I just have to say, I apologize for resenting you. And I understand that, all the things that you did, it wasn't you. And I know she didn't understand because she was like, also after I said all that, and I was like, I forgive you. And she was like, oh, I love you too, baby. So she didn't really, she didn't, I mean, I don't care, I wasn't really expecting anything. It wasn't for that,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's how it went. And I didn't want to make a big deal about it. I was like, that was all I wanted to tell you. So just keep doing whatever you were doing. And that's it. So, yeah.
So she didn't like really like address it or like, express how she made a mistake or like the things. She kind of just brushed it off as in like trying to keep the peace type of thing. I don't want to go too deep. What was the vibe that you got from it?
Yeah. So because like I said, we were kind of beefing for the last 2 years. So and what that really was just me kind of calling out her evilness towards my siblings. So I was always very maybe combative, always kind of sticking up for them.
Yeah.
And she didn't like that because I would call out her evil.
Yeah. Outspoken though, more just being honest.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was always out of love,
Yeah.
Maybe not the correct, execution, but yeah, always out of love, I guess, so-called love. But yeah, no, the vibe I got was just, I feel like she didn't understand why I was doing it, So I think she kind of just thought I was apologizing for maybe not talking to her or having been so combative at that time. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Yeah. So she just didn't understand. But that's fine, though. That's fine because, the seed was planted. And if she reflects and works on herself, then she'll realize and appreciate that, her daughter was the bigger person and said sorry. So that was that's amazing. Nice.
I know.
So is there like a do you feel different or do you feel just happy you did it, or what's your mindset like at this point?
Yeah, so like I kind of said in the beginning, hearing JLP and everything, I was gaining the intellectual knowledge, but I didn't really understand. And after I got that out,
Yeah.
I mean, not that there was like some grand, like change
Yeah.
or
Right.
anything, but
Right. Right.
it's like a veil was lifted, and I was able to actually see
Okay.
that it really isn't her doing these things.
Nice.
And even with my roommate or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't judge anymore. Like
Okay.
I don't have that hatred.
Nice.
That's one
Nice.
thing I've noticed. Yeah.
And and one more last question is, when you before you decided to do it, I know you briefly said it, but I want to properly understand. Did you do it because you're like, I need to do this and I've been saying I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna just do it, or did you get some type of like insight to where you're like, okay, I really need, what drove you to do it that it didn't drive you to do it before?
Well, I think it was one of your shows, and somebody had called in and they were saying something like that they felt like if they were to just go and forgive, that nothing would change. And you responded with, you can't go forgive just to do it. You have to. I don't know exactly what you said, but essentially, I didn't want to just say, "Oh, I got to forgive my mom because JLB told me that I need to." I wanted to actually forgive her, not just say the words, and understand why I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for a while, I would say the last month, maybe, I started to understand, okay, she's not actually doing these things, but then I would think about my siblings because they're all younger than me.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, no, like she's being evil with them. And that was always my holdup, I guess, because she's so evil with them. She don't care. She's so selfish.
Yeah.
So it was really just about my siblings. But I understand that, I mean, there's nothing I can do about that. So, yeah, but really why I chose to do it now was because I understood why I needed to do it. And I don't know.
Nice.
I had to.
Well, you did. Yeah. Well, that's good news, Caroline. I appreciate you calling in to share that, because I know that was a thing. By the way, folks, last time Caroline called in, she was speaking on how she had yet to forgive her mom. She forgave her dad, but she was a little nervous to forgive her mom, and she hadn't done it yet. But she knew she needed to, but she hadn't done it yet. So she eventually did it. That's good stuff. I know a lot of people don't take it serious or think that it's a big deal, but and it may not seem like it, but that's a huge deal to go and actually do it. So right on to you, Caroline, for doing that.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I guess like the last thing I will say, so my boyfriend, he grew up in two-parent household. They're very Christian. You know what I mean, but
yeah.
So he doesn't necessarily think that he needs to forgive his mom, but it's like, now that I have forgiven my mom and that veil was lifted, I can see his mother in him.
Oh yeah.
And yesterday we were kind of talking about the whole situation with us living together and all of that, and he was getting angry. And normally I would get angry too, and then we'll fight and all that, but I could see that it wasn't him saying these things, and I felt like it was the devil, using him to get to me. Yeah, but I didn't get angry. I was just like, okay, well, all I'm telling you is that we have to do things the right way, and that's that.
Nice. And so you brought it up. So the conversation with him came up about the situation, or just kind of briefly? Like as far as your guys' situation, did that come up?
It did, and it was actually last night. I just told him, I was like, look, you say you're a Christian, and yet here we are doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm just letting you know that. And I wasn't Christian at all when we first met, so I know it's probably kind of a huge change for him, because now, I'm on this, so... But no, I did bring it up because I was like, I have to. Like, I see that this is not the right way to do things, and I want to do what's right. And I want to be with a guy who's going to lead me and tell me, like, hey, we need to do what's right. You know, I don't want to have to be the one to tell you. But it came up, and I guess it went well.
it's like you said a second ago, is that this is you guys both were involved in this situation in the very beginning, and you guys both were, blind and just couldn't see clearly on,
Right.
the proper thing. And you're young, you make decisions when you're young, not knowing which way to go. And but you end up getting this revelation to work on yourself or whatever, and now as you can see more, there's a huge temptation to now want to judge the other person when maybe months ago or maybe a year or two ago you were in the same situation. But it's good that you're realizing and recognizing that you can't judge them, and just have to be patient and understand that there was once a time where you couldn't see. But at the end of the day, you'll know what the next thing for you to do is, whether it be stay, to leave, work it out. You'll see what's next to do if you stay away from, being angry and judging and watching yourself when you do,
For sure. And I can definitely see that now. And I don't know. I just feel, I don't want to say I feel, but I do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel different.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that's good stuff. Well, keep us updated, Caroline. I appreciate you calling in and sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you get on with your show. I'm ready to hear your stuff.
Right. Right on. Appreciate it, Caroline. Call me again. Thanks for calling.
All right. Bye, Joel.
All right. Bye. Nice. Okay, so callers, be patient. Let me just lay the groundwork of the show, and then I'll get into the calls. Great call from Caroline. Amazing stuff. It's just good stuff. Waking up, making sense of life. She's young. It's amazing stuff. Okay. So I want to talk about, and it kind of makes a little bit of sense with Caroline's call. So it's not too off topic. And really quick, sorry to Instagram. I started the stream late on Instagram, so they came in like 5 minutes into Caroline's call. So sorry, Instagram, if you missed that. Caroline forgave her mother, but you probably heard most of it. But anyway, I want to talk about failed children, failed society. Okay, I think this is so essential, if I can use that word. So necessary. Okay. And I first want to say, before I even start, is that it's not that important to have children. Okay. Because I'm going to get into this whole, what it means to have children, what I believe, right? I don't have kids, but what I believe it means to have children, right? Being a child, being a person who was once a child, and watching my parents deal with life. But it's really not that important to be having kids. So don't think that life is about getting married and having children. There's more important things to life than just getting married and having children. It's a great thing. It's a great thing. But that's not all life is about, because I know a lot of people think that's the purpose of life, is to procreate and get married. No, the most important thing is overcoming and returning to God. That's the most important thing. And whatever is in the plan for you after that is up to God and blah, 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 right? But I do want to talk about what having a kid can be. And I think that when you have children, reflecting on my own life, paying attention to like how I was raised and how things I would do different if I were to have a child or whatever the case is, right? I think it's it's a great privilege to have children. I think it's not like the most important thing in the world, but if it happens, you're blessed. It's a privilege to have children, right? And especially when you're intentional, right? I think that when you have children, it's supposed to, right? In a perfect world, it's supposed to be intentional, right? It's not supposed to be an accident, not supposed to be a mistake. It's supposed to be intentional, right? To where you're led to, we got to make these babies, girl. Come over here, girl. We got to make these babies, girl. And then you make the babies when it's intentional, right? In a perfect world, that's how it should be. But the reason why that's the case, I believe, is because you have an opportunity to guide a child that's innocent by nature, but also impressionable, that you can mold them in the right way to go. And what I mean by mold, I mean by guide. Lead them in the right way to go by your own example, right? And you can lead a young child with God's help within to reflect God's love better than you did, earlier than you did, sooner than you did. So that way they go out in the world and they're setting the example to the children around them, the teenagers around them, the young adults around them, the young, you know what I mean? Their light is shining. And that's a privilege and a responsibility. But it's a great thing. And that's why we're supposed to be intentional in all that we do and be led by God and let all things be added. That way, when they happen in such a way that is reflective of God's nature, of God's love. But that doesn't always happen. We make mistakes. We get caught up. All people do it. We get caught up in the head and the thoughts and the feelings, and we make mistakes. And it doesn't mean that it's over for you or that you're a failed parent. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It could be restored. It could be fixed. It could be worked on. If you put God first, though, right? So to the parents that, to the 99.9% of parents who make a mistake or don't necessarily do it the right way, it doesn't mean that it's over for your child and the child can't live a great life and overcome. No, you can still do it right if you become right. If you work on yourself and put God first, then you can lead your child even from a different household or separate, whatever, right? If you overcome, God can restore all things. So, but that's not the point I wanted to get to. The point is that all issues start in the home. And I'm gonna get through this story here. All issues start in the home. And like I said, because children are very impressionable, they're open to learning. They're open, empty cup. And your job as a parent is to fill that cup up with what it needs to be filled with. And your youth is what shapes what's going to happen to your future, how your future goes. Your youth, it all starts in the youth. When you're a little chap. That's how you know where your future will go, the way you were raised. And your parents hold that responsibility. They're a big part of that, right? They're a big part of the main part of where you end up in your life as a young adult, honestly. So with that being said, Colt Gray, I want to get into a little bit of Colt Gray stuff because I learned a little bit of more information over the weekend about Mr. Colt Gray. And Mr. Colt Gray is, as we know, the 14-year-old Appalachia High School shooter that killed 2 students and 2 teachers that is currently being sentenced to murder along with his father, Colt Gray. That's his father there. He is also being charged for murder. Isn't that interesting? Very interesting. Colt, 14 years old, shoots up his high school. And the father is also being charged for Colt's crimes. And as you guys know, there's a big discussion, a big debate amongst many people on whether or not the father should be charged, right? And that's up for opinion, up for debate. Some people say yes, some people say no. Some people are in the middle on the fence. I think that he should be charged, in my opinion, but I'm also not God, so I'm not gonna say that I'm right and that you should listen to me. But I do believe the father should go down too. Maybe not as long as Colt. Maybe he shouldn't need to do life in prison, but I think he should be up in there. Put him up in there with him. And they can share a bunk. I don't care, but he got to be up in there. That's what I think. And the reason why, and then I'm going to get you guys' calls shortly here, guys. The reason why, just briefly, is because he raised him. He raised him. Colt was raised by his father, not his mother. Where was his mother? That's another question. I think she's at fault too. She should have been there, and she failed the child, and there should be consequences for that as well. But the father raised the son, so he's responsible as well. And like we just said in the opening monologue, that it all starts in the home. It starts with the father. And many are saying he did nothing wrong. Many are saying that Colt's father, Colin, did nothing wrong. That he should not be charged. He did nothing wrong. It was all on the 14-year-old kid. He's old enough to make his own decisions. He's smart enough to know that shooting up a school isn't the right thing to do. That the father shouldn't be held responsible. And I had a little clip that I wanted to play for you guys of a little bit more information that I learned. And this is from Law and Crime Network on YouTube. Colt Gray's maternal grandfather, the mother's father, speaks on the situation, explaining Colt's father, Colin Gray's influence on the matter as a whole. So this is the grandfather giving his opinions on what he thinks about the father. Here we go.
And when we talk about what do we know about the Grays, Gray's maternal grandfather, Charles Polhamus, told local station 13 WMAZ, quote, "I understand that Colt did it, and he needs to pay the ultimate price. I understand that, and I don't disagree with that. But his dad is as guilty as Colt is. His dad beat up on him. I mean, I'm not talking about physical, but screaming and hollering, and he did the same thing to my daughter." And then to the New York Post on Sunday, Polhamus added that Gray, meaning this father, was evil and that he had driven Colt to do what he did. That's as plain as I can put it, and I know I'm right. And he actually says that Colin Gray deserves the death penalty.
Ooh.
To the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, this grandfather also said, quote, "Me personally, I totally blame the father. He just as well shot these people as far as I'm concerned, because I don't particularly think my grandson would have been the way he was except the environment that he lived in."
Interesting stuff. I mean, what are the odds that the grandfather is just speaking on, and he's just speaking on things that, common sense things, the environment that he was raised in, that the father was, I don't like the word abusive because he said abusive, but not physically. So I don't like that word for him being angry and yelling at his child, but the father was yelling at his child and he was angry or lashing out, whatever was happening. This is all alleged, right? We don't know. We don't really know much. But I mean, it's just common sense thing that the grandfather is saying, right? And this is my thoughts. These were my same thoughts. Like, hold on. Like, he's a product. Colt is a product of his environment. The product of his environment. Where does he get that anger that he has? He has to get it from somewhere. He has to learn it from somewhere. Not get it from somewhere. We know where he gets it, Satan. Right? But he has to learn it, right? He has to learn that behavior from somewhere. And you learn it from your number one influences, your heroes, your parents. But I do want to criticize the grandfather. I do want to criticize the grandfather who said all those things. I don't doubt what he's saying, but I do want to question that, at least not in this little clip here, did he criticize his own daughter? Because she has a big role to play in this too. The daughter, according to the news outlets, the daughter, the mother of the child who shot up the school, Colt, she was strung out on drugs, at least at one point, right? She wasn't involved in the child's life as far as being in the household. And I didn't hear the grandfather criticizing her. And the grandfather's saying that the father failed Colt. He's a failure. He's these things. He should go to jail. Da, da, da. But he didn't. What about his responsibility for failing his daughter, his own daughter? So I want to give fair criticism here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just saying let's just take his side and let's just roll with what he just said about Colt's father. No. It's true. I believe it makes sense, common sense stuff. But he also didn't mention, at least in this clip, that he missed the mark too as a father. His daughter is messed up. And I don't know when she got that way, right? Or how he raised her, but she was not involved either. So she has a big part to play, and he didn't mention that. So I think the proof is in the pudding. I didn't need the grandfather to say this, but it's nice to double down a little bit because, this is just, he has a more inside look at what's going on. And I just don't feel bad for the father. I don't feel bad for the father. I do agree the government, if we're going to have a conversation about the government and the government's involvement, then yes, let's have the conversation. And that's not what I'm talking about here though. Cause I agree with that whole take 100% about the government taking over. The government shouldn't be I understand that, but we'll save that conversation for another day. But I'm just talking about what's at hand here. So that's just, hey, draw your own conclusion. Do your own thing. But that's what I want to say about it. And my last thing is about the mothers. And then I'm off this. Then I'm done. We cooking this story. And then I'll get some calls and some super chats. But the last thing, because I really want to stress this with the ladies, the women, is that maybe not the women, the bond women, and not the women in chat, of course, because the women in chat, they're peak perfection. They are pinnacle women, right? But I'm just talking about women in general. Is that I don't understand why any woman wants to compete with a man for whatever. Because in society today, we see that women are doing all the things that men want to do, or that men do. Not want to do, but men do. And the way I see it from my perspective is that they're jealous. They're jealous of the praise and the glory that the man gets from doing all these things, whether it be in being successful, whether it be being macho, whether it be being liked, whatever it is, it seems like they're jealous and they want that too. So then they go out and do the same things. Independence and confidence, like they want those things. But one thing that they miss, and ladies, this is for the most part, ladies, this is the one thing that is missing, is that not realizing that your role as a mother, if you are to have children, is the most responsible role in the marriage. And all the women they want the important job. But they have the most important one in a marriage. What is that? Is to raise that child. To raise that child, to guide that child. Now the father leads the woman, right? He leads his family. But the father got to go out and do what he got to do, right? So the mother is there a lot of the time being spent with the child. That is the biggest responsibility. And I feel like the conversation is always like, well, I want to be important too. I want to be valuable too. You have the greatest role in the home when it comes to raising children. To raise the child in the right way, using the love that was passed down by the husband, of course, through God, with God. But that's a huge responsibility. So why would anybody want to do anything other than, and I'm not saying working, don't work. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, why would anybody want to not accept that role? And I think it's because it's not taught and not spoken about, and the message is not clear on how a woman's role in the home is just as important as the man's role in the home. It's just different roles. And she has one of the most important ones to raise the children when the man is not around. Why would you want to be like him when you can be like you and take on? And that's why it says in the Bible that when a man meets a good woman, he praises her in the proper way, right? He should praise her. Praise her for the work that she does. Because her position is valuable. And in the same way, the wife will praise the husband for leading the family in the right direction, for being an example of God, for leading the family in the proper way, for passing the wisdom down to the wife, so the wife can pass the wisdom down to the children. So it makes zero sense for a woman to want to do anything else than be in her role as a woman. It makes zero sense for a woman to try to be anything like the man. You should be, if a woman's trying to be like a man, a guy, run away. Because she's working against her own nature. She's working against God. She's working against God. She doesn't know God, so you don't want to judge him, but you want to deal with him properly. But she doesn't know God, so you don't want to be with the person that doesn't know God, right? As far as marriage and stuff, you can be friends, blah, 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 whatever. But anybody who wants to run away from that because of, I don't want to be a slave. Oh, obedience sounds like a robot. You have a child mind. You have a child's mind. That's insane. That's silly talk. You're immature. But anyway, I just want to say that about you have a great responsibility to do a great thing for your household, and you don't want to be jealous of nobody else. You got something that you can do and you need to do. The child needs a mother too. Colt needed his mother. And he needed his father to be strong. So that's it. I'm off that. Done. I'm burying that story. It's done for me. Unless some incredible evidence come out, I'm over that. It's done. Let me get to some calls. 888-775-3773. There are some lines open if you want to get in there. Hank says, shout out to the children. I'm getting to the calls. Let me see here. Let me go to Amy out of Texas. Amy, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Joel!
How's it going, Amy?
It's going fine.
Right on.
So I was going to talk to you about something from earlier, but I did want to mention from what you were talking about.
Okay.
That I had some friends. I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Nice.
And I had friends, who told me that they wanted to be stay-at-home moms, but they just couldn't. And most of the time it had to do with money.
Oh.
That was the thing. That was the thing that was pulling them back. And I told them that's okay. You just have to live with less.
Yeah.
And, not do the fancy vacations that you post on Facebook and just stay home.
Common sense stuff.
Yeah, they just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So
they went back to work?
They did. They went back to work. I had two other friends who tried to be stay-at-home moms, and they both had mental breakdowns.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was like their minds went crazy, and then they went to a mental hospital. And it was just like, I feel like they shouldn't have gone there, that it was a spiritual thing, but.
And how long you been a stay-at-home mom?
For 8 years.
8 years. Amazing. And how were you able to continue on, not burn out, or like what advice could you give the ladies, if you have any, on how you're able to stay grounded in being at home and stuff like that?
That's, I think, that's a good question. I don't know if praying.
Yeah. Well, how would you?
Started.
Oh, go ahead.
I think when I started staying home, it was just really hard, and I was in my head. But at night, when I was so sleep deprived, I would just sit there and with my eyes closed while I was nursing and just be still.
Nice.
And that that gave me energy when I didn't have any to give.
So at this point when you were doing this, have you heard the message on silent prayer and be still, or?
No.
Oh, okay. So you were just doing this for what reason? What led you to do that?
Well, I had not heard JLP say, be still, do the silent prayer, be still. Yeah. I hadn't heard of JLP at all at that point.
Oh, okay.
And but I did know the Bible, and I did know be still, but I was praying about it, and I realized, even if I can't sleep, I can close my eyes.
Right.
And maybe my body will think I'm asleep.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Nice. So was it solely just that moment at night, that silence at night is what helped you get through it? Or how were you? Because obviously there's a temptation for everybody to want to get back to work like your friends did, to give up. Like what? I guess my question is, how have you endured for the 8 years in those times
there's something when I was a kid, I wanted to be a better parent than my parents were to me. And I always wanted my mom to be home with me. And she wasn't, she didn't do that. She wanted to work. And she was home sometimes because she only worked part-time. But she wasn't home a lot of the time. And there were times when she would, like, forget me at school. And
I've been there.
Like, that's the whole reason I got a cell phone. But,
and that's what you want. So you wanted to be different. You wanted to be there for your children because you wanted that from your mother.
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Nice. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I just think that a lot of ladies just don't know the value of raising their own children, you know what I mean? And being there, especially in those early years, to where it just makes a huge difference when the mother is present and she's there, you know what I mean? And not like being raised by a nanny all the time and just the school system. It's nice when they have their parent there.
Yeah, it is nice. And it was very hard for me because I was very much in my head with my first daughter. But I knew I needed to be there, even if it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
That I was going to keep trying, and I was.
Amy, you there? Amy. Did you put me on mute? I might be on mute. Oh, we lost Amy. Amy. I gotta let her go. But I think she made the point for the most part. I like how she said that it wasn't, and then I'm gonna get to more calls. How she said that it wasn't, I like calls like that because she said that it wasn't perfect. You know, it's a struggle. Everybody got the struggle. It isn't no like perfect road for anybody, but you know, she wanted to make sure she was there for her children, and all her friends went back to work, and she could have been one of them ones like, you know what, you right, Satan. We need to get back to work. No, I'm tired. You know, but she, and maybe her financial situation was different than her friends was too. But still, she's sticking through, and she's still sticking it through. I mean, 8 years is pretty long, but you know, there's still a lot more to go. But yeah, I love the fact that she's just sticking it through. That's good stuff. I will come back to, I think Amy is, she got back on the line, but while she's talking to the phone screener there, I'm going to go to Ryan out of Florida. Ryan, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
What's up, bud? How are you?
How's it going, Ryan? All is well.
Nice. Hey, real quick, I wanted to make a comment on the single woman thing you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I heard a quote, and it goes, single women keep women single. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before.
Man, but it's facts. It's facts.
And if you actually look at the single women vote in America, it's a 68% demographic towards the Democrat Party. So basically 70% of the Democrat single woman vote, or of the single woman population is Democrat.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but hey, listen, also, I didn't know that the mother of the shooter going to the shooter store you were talking about, I didn't know she was like on drugs.
Yeah, she was, there was a thing that we talked about on the JLP show to where she was, she had an issue with drugs for sure.
Because I was trying to think about like why, you know, the kid would do it if, you know, the father and the kid had a good relationship. But then when you mentioned she had drugs, I was like, oh, well, he probably hated his mother.
Yeah, it was the same thing. Like, and JLP was, you know, we played it on the show. It's all the same stuff. You know, the father was angry, and then the wife was strung out on the drugs, and they had separated. We don't know all the details, but they had separated, and there was a struggle there. And she raised two of the kids, and he raised the son. So yeah, just the same kind of story that we always usually hear about. You know.
Right. And I think you made an amazing point when you said, like, we're a product of our environment because, you know, let's say hypothetically, like, the mom and the dad were together and they weren't messed up and they had a good relationship. Well, you know, the world out there is crazy. I don't know where their son went to school. I don't know, like, what kind of propaganda that they have in the school, but
Right.
it might not just be the parents, too. It's kind of coming out from all angles, you know?
No, that is true. There's definitely some influence from the school. You know, I always just kind of look at it like, and as this Ryan, you can let me know what you think, is that I always look at, I think it was Gary Vee. Gary Vee said one time, he was a lady was asking for advice on what she should do with her daughter who wants to go on TikTok and be like the TikTok stars. And the mom was saying she was afraid that the daughter was going to turn into like one of the more provocative ones. And then Gary Vee had told her that if you're raising her in the right direction, she won't have a desire to be that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
She'll get into it and she'll get on TikTok and she may see the temptation and may want to. But if you're raising her in the right way and you're not forcing her not to do these things and being too hard on her, she just won't even have a desire to want to degrade herself in that way. And that's just how I agreed. I see that in all ways, is that, yeah, you're going to go to school and you may be around these negative influences, but you're also going to be going home, and throughout the days and throughout life, you're leading your kids to learn from their mistakes, and they're seeing your example. So
That's actually so true.
You know
That's
what I mean?
True.
Like the school does have a big influence, you know, and they do feed you propaganda and all that stuff. But it's like, you know, how are we raising the children to deal with that? And why are they even at a school that is crazy?
That's
propaganda?
My next question. It's like, you know, if you got a nice mom and dad married under the house, and why are you sending your kid to a school that's like a problem school where it could potentially lead to something? So I feel like it's partially like also maybe where they went to school, but 100% on the parents for sure.
Yeah, man, it's a mess. It's a mess out there. But it's good to any last. Oh, I know you wanted to say something about the.
I just wanted to know what your thoughts were about the second attempt on Trump.
Oh, I haven't heard too much about it. Just a little bit on JLP this morning. I mean, it's insane that they how much hate that is against Trump and how much they want him dead, and there's zero acknowledgement from the Democrats on the main stage about how that's insane, and instead it's just like, how could we still get him out? How could we, it's still like this, and nobody's going through what he's going through, and yet there's no acknowledgement. But that's how evil works, people with angry, evil people don't care. You know what I mean? And I think it's just I think it's a perfect reflection on where we are in the world in general, is that there's just angry and evil people that that want to kill you.
Real quickly, dude, I'm like a super nerd about all this. So the Mar-a-Lago Golf Course Resort is a 200 acres, like 202 acres. And dude, Trump has like security going back and forth, patrol units and everything. I just want to know how this guy knew Trump was on the exact 5th hole out of an 18-hole course.
Interesting.
He must have had some other guy say, hey, he's on hole 3 right now. He's about to be at hole 5, because that's where he was shot. He was shot at hole 5. Huh. And I don't know. I just think Trump needs to watch out who he has near him, because there's definitely somebody who's feeding information, in my opinion. That's
a good point. It's like, how do you know all these things? How do all these things? How is he so precise on where Trump is going to be? It's just when I think about it, Ryan, it's just crazy how Trump has to even be careful who he trusts in his inner circle. It's just so. If you could only imagine the type of things he's going through, and then his mindset, and he still has to go out on the public stage, run for president, and have courage. It's just It's a crazy time.
It's kind of like a movie, bro. It's really crazy to see in real time.
It's very true, man.
Well, listen, let me let you go, brother. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Appreciate it, Ryan. Thanks for calling, man.
Yep. Have a good day. Bye.
All right. Man, I got to end, but listen, I'm in my 30s, so I haven't been around that long. I have never seen, witnessed, hallelujah, anybody other than the stories I've heard about Jesus and how he was persecuted and all that stuff. I've never seen or witnessed anybody get the same amount of persecution as Donald Trump, as Jesus. And I don't know how much Jesus had, so it ain't about who had more, who had less. Okay. But the fact that this persecution, and remember, it says in the Bible, be glad or rejoice in those who persecute you for my name's sake. And that's so true. Rejoice in those who persecute you for my name's sake. For your reward is great in heaven. Something like that, right? And it's so true. If you just pay attention to that, then you can just see what's going on. See who's on the right side of the fence. They hate him with everything in them. They want him dead. They want to kill him. So he's doing something right. There's no way this many people should want one person dead. If he wasn't of some type of importance, some type of value to life. You know what I mean? And Trump has to go through this. And he has to stand firm and still go up on the stage with hope on his face. With energy, with which is not that hard for him to do because God is leading him. But still, Satan is I'm guarantee you Satan is busy on Donald Trump's mind. Whether Donald Trump's believing in it or not, which who knows, right? But Satan is busy. They trying to kill him, and he can't even golf on his own resort. Telling you, it's a crazy time. This is history. This is go down history books. This movie, like Ryan just said, movie. And get Trump on the fallen state. That's right. Anyway, I gotta end, but amazing time to be alive. Amazing stuff. Just closing remarks. I gotta go. I don't have time. American Anchor Baby coming in. No, Punchy TV at 2 p.m. and then American Anchor Baby at 4 p.m. Make sure you guys tune in. We are going live with Punchy TV. We're going live. We're going to be live. The host will be live at 2 p.m. Pacific time today. You don't want to miss the Punchy TV episode. Don't miss it. After that, then you got American Anchor Baby. Mondays are full of JLP Network hosts. Amazing stuff. I got to go. Until next time, y'all. I'm here tomorrow and blah, blah, blah. See you guys later.